Welcome to the Early Wedge presented by BetMGM. I am your host, Eric Cohen. If you have watched this show over the last, let's say, 3 or 4 months and have followed our picks, you're making a lot of money because we are crushing it. Last week, your boy over here finally got one, another one. Aaron Rye cashed that one. We cashed a parlay with Aaron Rye and Billy Horschel in the top 10. And we're going to cash more tickets this week because I'm not even the star of the show. I'm just the accessory here. Let's bring in the real stars of the show, the guys that are the best golf handicappers that I know. We have the number one golf handicappers, I like to refer to him, Sia Nejad, who is also the host of the Early Edge Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, and then a CBS Sports golf writer extraordinaire, Patrick McDonald. And we're going to start right there, Patrick. We like to talk golf on this show, but as we know, if you watch every week, we talk about other things. And last week, we talked about hurricanes and how that would affect the Wyndham Championship, which it did. And Patrick went on a rant about a certain personality from the Weather Channel, Jim Cantore, who makes up fake scenes. And then Patrick, I guess the day after the show on Wednesday, you tweeted out that you made a new friend in South Carolina. Please explain.
Well, there is some research behind it. I knew where crooked Cantore would go because that's where the quote unquote floods typically happen in Charleston, South Carolina. Everyone who has been here or lives here knows that the market floods if someone drops a drink downtown. And so he's there 6 a.m. sharp. I knew he was going to be there. It was like watching a trap in real time, catching a mouse just like that. You finally got it, right? So I go over. We have some disagreements about the flooding patterns in Charleston. I'm like, oh, are you getting out of here? He's like, we're in a holding pattern. We're going to see where this storm's going. I go, it's going north, buddy. I think you should go up there too. We have a nice discussion. We shake hands. We take a selfie, and I get on my way.
I have to admit, I'm really impressed because after calling him crooked Cantore and still doing it today, you just couldn't help yourself and getting a selfie. So for that, I give you credit. All right, Sia, let's talk about golf here. I just had to ask Patrick about that right off the bat. Did Max Greyserman choke, or did Aaron Rye just play amazing down the stretch to win?
I mean, I think both can be true. This is one of here's what happened. There was a psychological component to this, and it happened. The psychological component came into play at the most strange time, at the oddest time. When we had the hole out from Greyserman for eagle, his second eagle of the day on Sunday, it was the first time that he felt and that you saw, oh, he thinks he's going to win this thing. Because prior to that, he's just locked in. I love his golf game because he is just, you can tell he's locked in the whole time. The outside noise isn't there. But there was that one moment where it looked like he had wrapped up the entire tournament. And for that moment in his head, he was like, oh, maybe subconsciously, he was like, maybe I can get my foot off the pedal a little bit here. I got probably a 4 or 5 shot lead at this point. It was that moment that led to the tee shot on the next hole, which of course led to the disaster and the quadruple bogey. Now, granted, he did rebound from that, but then we saw whatever it was, a 4-putt or a 3-putt that led to the double bogey. But here's the irony. Here's the statement I want to make.
Put him up.
Okay.
Max Greyserman, 4-putt. Max Greyserman would have won the tournament if he had not holed out on that hole for eagle on the back 9. If it was just a simple birdie, he would have won the tournament because that next tee shot, he would have been just as locked in as he had been the 9, 12 holes prior to that hole out.
Patrick, do you agree with what Sia just said? That's a very interesting take.
I will say one, he did choke, complete gag, all over himself, just throw up down his chest, mom spaghetti. Sia's take, I'm not too sure. It's up in the air. I'll side with Sia.
It's next level. I mean, it's very nuanced. You got to go.
I'll side with Sia for that one. But I will say Greyserman choked, mainly because I'm a little butthurt. Both of you were on him, so I think if anything, guys, I'm the accessory to this show now, not you. I mean, EC, you're the number one golf betting show host in the world.
Facts.
We'll just go with that today. All right, Patrick, I'm not even going to comment on. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, let's go to this next one. Let's talk about Matt Kuchar. Now, Liddy in the chat says Aaron Rye takes a lot of time. I mean, yeah, he's not Patrick Cantlay right there, but Matt Kuchar had pulled a stunt on Sunday, Monday, whatever that was. Your thoughts on what happened? Because everybody's talking about it. I mean, Matt Kuchar, based on what we saw the other year in Mexico, he wins that tournament and then doesn't tip his caddy more than what, 10K, something after he wins $1 million and change. So Matt Kuchar doesn't have the best reputation. This probably doesn't help. Your thoughts on that situation?
I'm not surprised, but I will say, like he said afterwards, he was just trying to set a good example for Max Greyserman. He was just trying to be a good guy. He was just trying to do the right thing. No, it was a joke, an absolute joke that he did that. He should be not ashamed of himself, but he should take a long look at the man in the mirror, I think. And to his credit, he did apologize the next morning. But by then, I think it was too little, too late.
Sia, if Matt Kuchar had come out and said, hey, the fact that the group in front of me plays so slowly, I just, it frustrates me and I want to make a point. If he'd been honest, we probably could have understood. But the way he handled it was real bad.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I don't think there's it was ridiculous. I don't even know what else to say. I mean, he knew he was going to be that guy when he walked off the course, and he was okay with that. And that's a reflection of who you are and what type of personality you have. I don't know. Like, there's no like wiggling out of this. Like, this is like a hilariously bad decision that somebody who had a reputation for potentially making bad decisions made. So I guess I'm not super surprised. It's not like I hate the guy, but like, it was such a Bush League move. It was terrible.
And if you wanted your bets to be cashed on Sunday, for some books, you had to wait until Monday, including my parlay. You had to wait until Monday morning because Matt Kuchar screwed it all up. So I could have had my money on Sunday night, but no, Matt wanted to delay that. Your thoughts? Go ahead, Patrick. You have thoughts on that?
Time value of money. Imagine what you could have done with that. The market was way up on Monday. Way up on Monday. I have no idea if it actually was or wasn't, but just imagine.
I just want to point the difference in Monday golf odds. So last Monday, you could have gotten Aaron Rai in the without market, which you wouldn't have needed, at 40-1, which was the same price that he had in the outright market on some books. He dropped on Tuesday when we did the show to 25-1. Better to bet early if you have a feeling about a golfer than to wait. Just want to point that out. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the show, and let's start with storylines. Sia, we're going to start with you. This is a no-cut event. What does this mean when it comes to DFS and betting?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good betting opportunity because we're going to see the same guys for 4 rounds. So when you're looking at round matchups and things of that nature, we know we're going to have, regardless of how bad or good somebody is a certain day on a Thursday or a Friday in particular, we know we're going to see them on Saturday or Sunday. I do think there's betting opportunities to be had that we don't normally get. Like somebody who had an awful round, for example, on a Friday, normally they don't make the cut. And what we'll see on a Saturday is maybe the odds are in their opponent's favor, and maybe we can take advantage of that because it was just one bad round or maybe a couple of bad rounds. So I think there's some betting nuances here, but I think from a DFS standpoint, people should keep in mind this is a no-cut event. People should keep in mind to really play sort of like the variance of golf, knowing that you're going to get guys with 4 rounds. That doesn't mean like fade all the chalk and play all the outliers, but it does mean like consider different. And we'll talk about DFS. Consider different constructions. Consider different guys. Like if everybody's going to be on Colin Morikawa and let's say Scotty Scheffler, like maybe consider some lineups that don't have those guys and go with guys that you just don't like, but you might be willing to play because they are getting 4 rounds and they do have tremendous upside.
Patrick, you're already looking way ahead to Eastlake, and we know Scotty Scheffler probably going to start out at 10 under par. Xander Schauffele more than likely going to start out at 8 under par, but you're looking beyond that. I would think Rory McIlroy will have a say in that, but what do you say?
Yeah, the gap between Scotty Scheffler and third place is so large right now. Even the gap between Xander Schauffele and third place is pretty large that I think there could be a fun way to attack it. There's a lot of future markets out there to pick the FedEx Cup champion now, where you're probably looking at a guy to finish or to be in third place by the time the Tour Championship rolls around, and they're 7 under. They're only 3 back because, like you said, Scotty Scheffler probably going to start at 10 under. Xander Schauffele probably going to start at 8 under. But that third spot where Rory is very accessible to a lot of players. And you look at some of the futures, I'm just throwing them out there. They're pretty fun. You got Tommy Fleetwood at 90. I know you love him, EC. Sung J M at 75-1. Cantlay's at 50, Hideki's at 50, Tony Finau's at 50. So if you like those guys, any of them, really the next couple weeks, it could be a fun way to add a little exposure on them also in the futures market.
Patrick, historically, which player plays the best year in, year out at Eastlake?
Xander Schauffele.
Exactly. So just don't overthink it. Let's not, I mean, I love big odds. You know that. Let's not overthink it. Let's just try to win our money with Xander Schauffele when he wins the FedEx Cup. And he's still not player of the year. Just want to point that out. All right. My storyline this week, we saw Lucas Glover go back-to-back in Greensboro and Memphis last year. Does that mean Aaron Rai is an automatic buy this week? I'm going to spoiler alert. I know we want you to watch the rest of the show. The answer is yes. I think Aaron Rai is an automatic buy. Guy is playing phenomenal golf. If we toss the Open Championship, right? Let's toss that weird weather and all that. He's gone 1, 2, 4, and 7 in his last 4 tournaments. That's all I need to see. He's going to be a factor this week. We bet him in some capacity. Simple as that. All right, let's move on to DFS. And as I saw, speaking of Aaron Rai, apparently I'm on the same page. Sia, you are actually agree with me for once. So you're playing Aaron Rai at 8,200, which is a pretty darn good price in DFS.
Yeah, I felt a little bad that I wasn't on Aaron Rai outright. I think it was either on this show or on the Early Edge where I was like, he was the last one that didn't make it into my card. But fortunately, EC, because you were on it and because Mike McClure was on it, I still ended up putting some money on it. So thank you very much for that. I got to say, by the way, the chat is kind of on fire here. Joe, Jeff, David, Lydia's in here, Taylor DeHart. Good times. We're talking appetizers right now. Favorite appetizer, put it in the chat. I have an answer. That's why I want to ask everybody. We can get back to that later in the show. Yeah, Aaron Rai, listen, I mean, he's playing so well. I don't think he's the type of guy at all that would take his foot off the gas or lose his concentration because he finally won last week. I think he's going to be dialed in. He still has FedEx Cup points to chase. 8,200 is a good price. I'll say this. I didn't realize he'd be that high owned, even though this is obviously a low price for him, because I thought this particular price tier would almost be like kind of like an empty-ish zone because people want to go stars and scrubs so bad. But what I'm seeing, at least early with the ownership, is that a lot of people are on Aaron Rai. So it's something to keep in mind. I don't mind pivoting if he's going to be like 20%. Also, keep in mind ownership numbers are going to be higher because there's only 70 in the field, especially those upper echelon 8K, 7,500 and above. You're going to see higher ownership in a pretty big way. Speaking of that 7K range, and I'll just go down to the 6K range too, I think Taylor Pendrith and Austin Eckroat are pretty good plays here. Again, they're getting 4 rounds. They can score. They're good ball strikers. They can get hot with the putter, particularly Taylor Pendrith. I think when you're looking to sort of dumpster dive, and there's a lot of good options. I think Brendan Todd is an interesting option. I think Seamus Power is an interesting option. I could probably come up with 5 other. Oh, Brendan Todd's on Patrick's list. I honestly didn't even see that. So I think these are guys that you can put in some stars and scrubs lineups or even in some balanced lineups that we know can have a bad day, but can also score, and they flashed that scoring ability very recently with their recent form. I'm going to fade Fudd Ladvig or fade Ludwig because I don't really see a scenario where I'm going to play somebody else over him, and that's what it comes down to. It's not like his ownership is super low. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'd rather play Tommy Fleetwood over him. I'd rather play Colin Morikawa over him. I'd rather play Xander Schauffele over him and probably Scotty and Rory. So it's not that I think he's going to have a horrible tournament, but the only way I'd play him is if his ownership was super low. Doesn't appear to be the case. So I'd rather play all those other guys over him.
Now, Sia, I hate to break it to you, but Ludwig Åberg is going to win this week. So I'm saying it right now. We saw what he did at Augusta, no course history, and he goes out and casually gains like 8 strokes putting. I think he's going to have a big week, and I think he's your win. That's just my take this week. Patrick, we'll talk about that later on. But speaking of Patrick's, you're fading a guy that I have been fading for the last, 20-something weeks, 25 weeks. Patrick Cantlay, after he let me down at the Genesis Invitational. Why are you Cantlay's kind of a trendy pick when you read some articles out there, but you're going opposite that. Why?
Well, first, I'd like to provide a little nugget. I know we're talking about appetizers, but a little nugget about your boy Ludwig. Will Gray put this out from the PGA Tour. He put it out Sunday at the Scottish Open, and it continues to be true. He has not broken 70 on a Sunday since bada bing, bada boom, that Sunday at Augusta National. So just something to be aware of for you, EC. Don't put him on the list if he comes.
He won't need to be. He won't need to. A 70 should get it done this year. Yeah, we're good.
I'm fading Patrick Cantlay because I'm trying to be more like you. But no, like you said, bit of a trendy pick, playoff loser last year, rounding into form. I have a little bit of concerns around his accuracy off the tee. And so I was going to fade Ludwig. Saw Sia put him in the rundown. I cursed his name, and then I went with Cantlay instead at 9,700. Who I am playing, Davis Thompson, 7,400. Speaking of players who are playing well in America, EC, take away the Scottish swing, Davis Thompson, 4 straight top 12s, including that win at the John Deere Classic. He's got to answer the question, can a rookie quarterback win in the postseason? It's his first time in the FedEx Cup playoffs. We're about to find out this week. I think he'll be just fine. Seamus Power, 6,100. He's been pretty good-ish, I think, but you look at these smaller limited fields. He has top 20s at the Wells Fargo, the Travelers, and the RBC Heritage. That's all I'm trying to get out of him. Brendan Todd, like Steve said, 6,100. Accurate off the tee. Very good putter. The iron play is going to need to come alive, but T12 in 2 or top 12 finishes. I believe T12 finishes in 2 out of his last 4. So the form's not too far off for him either.
Patrick, I want to say you're spot on with the mozzarella stick appetizer. I eat like a 5-year-old, as we know. So Sia brought the category up. I am all for mozzarella sticks. Sia, go ahead.
Saquon Kim says the Southwestern egg roll may be the actual reason America exists. Come at me. I don't even know what that means. I just know it's hilarious. Southwest egg rolls I really do like. Let's see. I got to update this list because it's very intriguing. Lettuce wraps from Liddy. We got street corn. Okay, Joe, I'm not so sure about that one. Let's see. P.F. Chang's lettuce wraps again. And everybody thinks I'm going to go with the healthy one. The one I had in mind is not healthy. It's quite unhealthy, actually. It's calamari. Like, calamari is so standard.
Ooh.
Like, you give me calamari, like, you bring calamari to the table, you always, can I just tell everybody this? You got to spend the extra money. Do not, if you have a party of 3 or more, or 4 or more, do not just get one calamari appetizer. Just go ahead and get 2, because it's going to be one of those awkward situations where a few people are going to take a handful and there's only going to be a little bit left. And they're going to be like, well, I don't want to have it because that other person wants to have it. If you just get 2 of the calamaris, call it a day. Everybody's going to be happy. You're welcome, everybody.
David, who's always in the chat. Yeah, I always appreciate David being in the chat. He says, chicken tenders or mozzarella sticks? My answer would be yes. It's like 2 of my 5 food groups there. So you cannot go wrong with either one of those. This conversation could probably usurp what we're going to talk about on the show. However, this is a golf show. I'm going to try to keep it semi-golf related for as long as we can. And that means it's time for Sia's FRLs here. Sia, you've made people a lot of money this year. Akshay Bhatia was your first one in San Antonio, and then he went on to win the tournament. You hit another big one the other week. I can't remember who it was offhand, but it was another 60-1 plus. But this week you're going a little, I don't want to use the word chalky because these aren't chalky, but a little lower priced. Why?
Yeah, I mean, a couple reasons. One is we only have a 70-person field, and obviously this top tier is going to be condensed from an odds standpoint. They're going to be shorter than normal. I just, in a field like this, I'm just not really interested in taking a super big long shot, even in the outright market. But normally I would be willing to do that in first round leader market. But this is one of it's like a metrics play for me. Like, these guys graded out really well. I hate taking guys that are this short. I do have one long shot in the first round leader market. But Colin Morikawa, I don't like him as much as everybody else in the outright department. But I mean, the approach numbers, the ball striking really does speak to me. And the putter, while it was bad last time out, he's been good in that department too. Also, Team No Putt can exist here. His first round ability this season has been pretty awesome. So I think at 22-1, it's fair. I'm going to go Tommy Fleetwood at plus 3,000. Not a guy I expect to close, but he also grades out really well for me. I think he's a great course fit, good course history, of course. And then Tom Kim, another guy that I think is just set up to disappoint people over 4 rounds. But in 1 round at 33-1, I liked the number enough. By the way, these are all AM guys. The weather's going to be maybe a factor because it's just going to be so hot. So these guys all go out, I think, prior to like 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, between 7 and around 9:30, 9:45. I think Colin's the latest one in that 9:45 range. But if you're going out at like 11, 12, 1 o'clock, you might do fine, but it's going to be super hot. Obviously, the course conditions, obviously, usually lesser in the afternoon than the morning. So all morning guys for me.
All right. As somebody who plays golf in really, really hot conditions with no trees, at least they have shade at TPC Southwind. We don't have that in Arizona. Yeah, on some of these courses, you just stand and you roast. They'll be fine. But that's fine. I appreciate your list because we don't have to worry about any of those three winning this week. So it's a really good list, Sia. I think that's fair. Another guy, remember who won the FedEx Cup last year, Victor Hovland. If you like Victor Hovland, you probably won't want to watch this next segment after we hear from one of our sponsors. Yeah, I mean, Jeff, I understand there's no shade in the fairway, and I keep it in the fairway fairly often, but there's no tree. We don't have trees out here. It's too hot in Arizona. All right, Patrick, you are the official weatherman. You and Jim Cantor are your best friends now. What do we know about the weather in Memphis this week that you know of?
It's gonna be hot. I'll be honest, I haven't really looked too much into it. Yes, the wrong weatherman, unfortunately. I'll ring up Cantor.
No, Patrick. You're our insider. You got to make something up.
Yeah, I know.
I did see David. I did see David. Nice day for weather. I did see David mention that there might be thunderstorms in the late afternoon, which could affect that first round leader marker if they have to go off the course and they come back in receptive conditions. But yeah, I mean that's just something we're gonna have to monitor.
Yeah, thunderstorms would be great, and they would make the greens a little bit easier to putt on, you would think. Regardless, I think you have great picks, Sia, so we're going to go with that. Now, I mentioned that Victor Hovland is a very popular fade in this segment. Unfortunately, I didn't get the memo. Nobody told me in advance, but then when I look ahead at my cheat sheet, I see Patrick making two outrights, and they're both fading the former FedEx Cup champion from 2023. All right, Patrick, go for it. Corey Connors, Aaron Rai, they're great picks, don't get me wrong, but why are we fading Vic here?
They're kind of the exact same player, too. You could throw Russell Henley in the mix as well. They're kind of the Canadian, English, American version of each other. Any combination works. But Corey Connors has been awesome. Really, ever since the Canadian Open, he's been much better on the greens. He finished inside the top 10 at this tournament last year. You want to be accurate off the tee. A lot of trouble lurking there at TPC Southwind, a sneaky amount of water. The Bermuda rough is no joke as well. He's a great iron player, and like I said, the putter is coming around. So I'm going to go with Corey Connors minus 125 over Victor Hovland. And then for all the same reasons I laid out for Corey Connors, the exact same for Aaron Rai at minus 105 over Victor Hovland. Also, and then I'm going to take a bet on Davis Thompson minus 120 over Wyndham Clark. Just like the way Thompson is trending, Clark is playing a lot better golf than I think people are giving him credit for, just because people like to hate on him on the internet in general. But give me Thompson at minus 120. We know how volatile Clark can be. His floor is a bit lower than Thompson at the moment.
I have it on good authority that Wyndham Clark was at a pizza restaurant or kind of a nicer Italian restaurant on Saturday night in Scottsdale, Arizona. I do not know what he ordered, and he did not give my sources any golf tips that I know of. I was really hoping to find out. He's a Colorado native. Next week's BMW Championship is at Castle Pines in Colorado. Was really trying to get tips, and I failed. So I'll see what I can do next week.
Some calamari.
I would think that's probably a good bet. He's a very fancy type of eater. I am just the opposite. I know Sia probably and Wyndham would enjoy a dinner together. You would not want to eat with me, who eats like a 5-year-old. All right, Sia, you're also fading Vic here and playing Tommy Fleetwood. All right, give us some geography lessons, please.
Yeah, so, let's start with Corey Connors. I don't think I need to make the argument against Victor Hovland. First of all, I'll say this. From a DFS standpoint, if you want to play Victor Hovland because it's the contrarian play and you know he has the upside, I totally get that. But we're not playing DFS here. We're playing the odds that Victor Hovland is going to be who he's been over the last 6 to 8 months. And we're going to play the odds that Corey Connors has not only been the guy he's been over the last 6 to 8 months, but also the guy he's been at this course. Everything grades out much better for Corey Connors. He's the steady hand here over 4 rounds. I actually like the fact that this is 4 rounds when it relates to Hovland versus Connors, because Hovland could have those spike rounds in the first 2, and Connors could be steady in 3 or 4 shots back. And then Hovland has the miserable around the green experience, or just like something goes awry. I don't see that happening as much with Connors. So I'm looking for the steady Eddie here, and it's Corey Connors minus 125 over Victor Hovland. Top Englishman, nationality play. Tommy Fleetwood at plus 140. Let's see. If memory serves, it's Aaron Rai, Justin Rose, and Matt Fitzpatrick. And what I mean by that is it's Tommy Fleetwood versus Aaron Rai. And I think Tommy Fleetwood here with this group of talent, I think Tommy Fleetwood is the guy. I think he's a great course fit. I'm not saying he's a better course fit than Aaron Rai, but at plus 140, I expect him, again, over 4 rounds to be better than Justin Rose and Matt Fitzpatrick and to ultimately be better than Aaron Rai. Actually, I'm not a Tommy Fleetwood guy, but I actually, for whatever reason, have some high expectations for him this week. I'm not saying he's going to beat Scotty Scheffler and win this tournament, but I do think he's going to have and I really was impressed with what he did at the Olympics as well. I think he's in really good form. So give me Tommy as top Englishman.
Patrick, what country is this tournament being played in this week?
The United States, which at one point I believe was under British rule.
That's right.
How many times has Tommy Fleetwood won in the United States?
Figuratively, on the golf course, what are we talking about? In life?
Like poker?
We're talking about golf, professional golf events in the United States. Yeah. How many times Tommy Fleetwood won?
I can't recall. I can't, it's not in my database for whatever reason. You'd have to enlighten me.
Nonetheless, as many times as I have, doesn't mean Sia picks a bad one. I like Aaron Rai this week, but that's fine. Tommy Fleetwood should show out well, and I put him in my top 10 of my fantasy rankings in my column on sportsline.com. All right, Sia, I have to say your picks are genius this week in general, minus your appetizer choice, which I side with Patrick on, but I love your finishing position plays here because we actually agree on both of them. We'll have you start with Corey Connors. I know you've talked a little about him. And Aaron Rai as well, but I think these are, to me, and I don't want to spoil it. These look like winnings picks to me, right? Both of these, yeah.
Yeah, and this is interesting because again, when you get top 70, like that top 30, top 40 market, which we hit really hard last week. Remember, so last week, just to full disclosure, I had 2 matchups. I lost one of them. I won one of them, and then I lost my nationality play. And both of the matchup that I lost in the nationality play were both Cam Davis related. And he was so bad. He was bad on Thursday, but he was actually curiously bad on Friday where I was like, oh, this guy's injured. He's completely checked out. Something is wrong. A couple holes where he was a complete disaster and he still could have won the nationality play and beaten Min Woo Lee in the matchup. But the reason I bring all that up is I had 5 finishing position plays, all plus 125 or better. 4 of them hit. So we really crushed it here. So I want to be real careful not to backtrack. So I only have 2 here that I actually liked. It's Corey Connors for the reasons we already set out, T20 at even money, and Aaron Rai at T20 plus 110. I don't think Aaron Rai is going to top 5 this tournament necessarily. I don't think he's going to win this tournament necessarily, but forget about last week. Pretend he didn't win last week. In fact, pretend he didn't play last week. What he has done over the last 2 months has been really, really good. Really good golf in good fields, in bad fields. T20 at plus money. I'll take that every time on Aaron Rai, given his current form.
I got so excited in the last segment, I didn't even give out my matchup pick. By the way, you can find the Connors over Hovland matchups at BetMGM, and Patrick's other 2 were at FanDuel. So check those out. See, as you can find the top Englishman on a lot of sports books.
Mm-hmm.
Going Russell Henley over Sung Jae Im at minus 120, also in BetMGM. Henley, 2 top 10s in his last 4 here, and 2 top 10s in his last 3 tournaments overall, and he's a Patrick favorite, so how could I not play him? Sung Jae has a pretty good course history, and he's played well here, but he did flop as the favorite last week and hurt my one-and-done chances. I am bitter, so we're going to fade him for that reason. All of those reasons at minus 120. You find that on BetMGM. All right, I got a bunch of plays here. We'll go through these quickly. Corey Connors, top 10 plus 240. Aaron Rai, top 10 plus 275. Top 20 plus 105. Billy Horschel, top 20 plus 110. And Max Greyserman, top 20 plus 185. So Connors, Sia's already talked about him. We're good there. Aaron Rai has talked about him as well. Billy Horschel is top 10s in his last 2 tournaments. We played him last week. He cashed for us at the Wyndham. He has 4 top 10s and 5 top 20s in his last 8 here. And listen, Max Greyserman made us money last week on the back 9, and he's going to make us money here in the top 20 as well. He's playing great golf. Listen, in the last 4 tournaments he's gone top T21, T13, and then solo second. That form is great. I don't care the competition. I trust the game just as long as he's not contending for a title. I feel pretty good about a top 20 and getting almost 2-1 on that feels pretty good. All right, Patrick, your favorite bet on this list, even though there's some redundancies, what do you like?
I like the Billy Ho pick. He's a guy who rides the Momo quite well throughout his career, clearly in a string of form. and playing some great golf. So I like that Billy Horschel pick.
So when we play these picks, the key to our top 10s and 20s, especially as the season has gone along, is play it with ties. And you can find those always at BetMGM. If you aren't a BetMGM customer, well, what are you doing? It's time already, especially with football season ahead. New BetMGM customers can sign up today and get up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Just place your first wager of at least $10 and you'll receive up to $1,500 instantly if your bet loses with bonus code EDGE. That's EDGE EDGE. Coming up next, Sia is joining the party. It's time to play the without market here on the Early Wedge.
Well, you need your sports news anywhere?
We've got breaking news to bring you.
Then get your sports anytime you want them. Big trade news overnight to discuss.
Because we know you need sports all the time.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
A legend adds to their legacy.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
CBS Sports HQ, anywhere, anytime, all the time.
Sia, you are so dialed in this week. I love where you're going with the picks. But we're going to start with Patrick, whose picks listen, I get it. But because Corey Connors, when we see the graphic, it's good. Patrick, I'm going to have you start with Sung Jae. So Sung Jae last week was the overwhelming top choice. The guy hasn't won on tour since since before COVID, I believe. I think it was March 1st of 2020 was the last time he captured a tournament title. Is that right?
No.
America was still under English rule, I believe. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, Sung Jae hasn't won in a long time. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
He hasn't. He hasn't won since, I believe, May. He won on the Korean PGA Tour.
That doesn't. Come on. We're talking about against the top competition in the world.
EC, are you telling me you don't recognize the Woori Financial Group Championship on the Korean PGA Tour?
I didn't even know there was a Korean PGA Tour. I really didn't.
Well, he's a back-to-back champ, Jack, at that very tournament. But no, he won the Shriners Championship in the fall of 2021.
Okay. I don't count those either.
Yeah, we don't I agree. It has been so long. So I feel like we have gotten to this inflection point with Sung Jae where we all talk about him being a young, good talent, and it's, hey, buddy, let's go out and prove that and win something. He's been playing great golf. I don't care if he burns you in one and done last week, EC. That's probably good for me if we're somehow in that same league. So I commend him.
I'm in 90th place. I'm in 90th in that same league, Patrick.
Out of
900 people? I'm doing
out of 900 or 91. I'm 91, unfortunately. So I'm going with Sung Jae at 40-1 because he has been playing some really good golf this spring outside of really that Wyndham Championship. And it's a good course fit for him. Has good results here. 41. Corey Connors, 41. Probably a without market type of guy. To be honest with you, like he's prime candidate to finish like T3 behind Scotty and Rory. Something like that I could see. But I didn't do that because I just didn't think about it until I'm looking at your picks right now. So I might do that after this show. But outright at 40-1 for all the reasons I said during the matchup section.
Last week was painful for me. I love to play the without market and do my parlays, but the parlays weren't working out so well for me. I had to make a straight wager on Aaron Ryan and without market. It really was painful. I mean, well, it wasn't when I cashed my ticket, but listen, we now I'm adapting to straight wagers, and Sia is adapting to the without market because look at this beautiful board here. If you're watching on the YouTube feed, all right, Sia. Well, wait, Patrick Cantlay, Tommy Fleetwood. Wait, Jake, hold on a second. Jake, will you bring up the graphic? Because a couple players that I thought that we there's Tommy Fleetwood there, and now I guess you're playing the without market here. We don't have to worry about any of these guys actually winning a tournament. By the way, Cam Young, I just want to point this out. Cam Young is like a permanent staple. Like you can't bet Cam Young ever to win outright, right, Pat? Like we're done with that. We're done with that notion for a long time.
I considered it this week.
Come on,
but it was it was bad. It was really bad over the weekend. Really bad.
All right, Sia, sorry to kind of interrupt you there, but interrupt your flow there. But Tommy Fleetwood and Patrick Cantlay in the without market, we can approve this based on the list. So tell us, start with Cantlay. Why do you like him this week?
And you asked me about this list last week, and you said, well, which one of these guys can win? I think Patrick Cantlay was my lone answer. So I do think he can win this tournament, but I would much rather pay the plus 2,000 without Scotty than the plus 2,200 with Scotty. Like, I'll take that 2-point reduction every time. Can I just say the true winners here? Of course, it's going to be Patrick Cantlay at plus 2,000 without Scotty, or maybe Patrick Cantlay at plus 2,200. But the chat, Chris Kish, Joe Neuenfeld, CMA 3111, David Talk, the conversation, no offense to you, Patrick, or you, Eric, conversation over here is electric. We got appetizers still going. We've got cereal wars, Frosted Flakes versus Cinnamon Toast Crunch. EC, people are asking you what your take is on that. And then, of course, a White Men Can't Jump reference. Woody Harrelson is the best Billy Ho. Of course, that's true. Okay, back to my picks. Patrick Cantlay. I love how he's been trending over his last few tournaments, which, again, is a small sample size, but it's a superstar. I don't mind small sample size when it comes to superstars. We saw what he did. The Open Championship was okay. U.S. Open, what was it, a T3? Travelers, he was really good. The weighted tee to green numbers, again, in a short sample, are really good for Patrick Cantlay. The course history, of course, recent course history is really good for Patrick Cantlay. I think it's FedEx time, right? And this didn't really come to fruition last year, but I think the year before, when it came down to FedEx time, Patrick Cantlay starts playing really well. He's starting to trend in the right direction. So winner without Scotty Scheffler, Patrick Cantlay. I mentioned Tommy Fleetwood. I think you're right. I don't think he can beat the likes of Xander, Scheffler, and Rory. But what about a market that takes those three out? I think Tommy Fleetwood at plus 1,600 is a good play there. The first one, by the way, is BetMGM, the one with Patrick Cantlay. The second two, the ones without Scotty, Rory, and Xander, are FanDuel, just so everybody knows. I threw Aaron Ryan there at plus 3,000 because he's just been so steady. I think that's a pretty good number on him. So those are my three outrights.
Patrick, I happened right before the show to be reading your column on CBSSports.com, your expert picks column. Who was your champion this week? Who is not on this list, but just to be forthright, who was your champion in that article?
Oh, Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah. I mean, at 7-2 odds or thereabouts, I don't know if you can play that, but I mean, this is why we play the without market, because then we don't have to worry about Scotty Scheffler. You don't have to worry about Xander, who doesn't have a great course history here. Rory, I'm a little concerned about. I could see those who want to get Rory at 10-1. I'm going to go with Ludwig here at 14-1. Listen, he's gained shots on approach in 10 of his last 11, and that used to be his problem area here. He wasn't good with his irons. We know he's great with the driver. The putter comes and goes, but the fact that the irons are dialed in, I think he wins this week outright. Now I'm gonna play it just in case Scotty pops or Rory pops. Ludwig's gonna be top two, and we're gonna cash this ticket. Just in case Ludwig is not that guy this week, and I'm wrong, I have Hideki Matsuyama. I have Tony Finau, who I like, and then Aaron Rai, who I talked about earlier in the show. So 6 straight top 20s in America for Tony. Last year he lost 8 strokes putting on the greens. I don't think he's going to do that again. You're getting 28-1 in the without market. Hideki, we saw the form in the Olympics. He finished third and got the bronze medal. Great. I mean, am I as confident at 18-1? Probably not, but I did throw him on this list because why not? But I'm most confident Ludwig 1, Aaron Rai 2, Finau 3, and I would throw Hideki in there as number 4. All right, so last week when it comes to the long shots category, we talk about the parlays. They come, they go. We don't hit most of them, but sometimes we hit a big one. And yes, I think Jeff said in the chat, cocky EC. No, I never want to get that way because we all know how what goes up must come down. But we did hit a plus 1340. So we're going to give this a shot later on with another parlay. But let's start with Patrick's. He's going with a couple of long shots, including another guy, Patrick. Now, he's on the you do not bet list, and he's crossed off on that list, but he shouldn't be. Shane Lowry, because he has not won a solo tournament. So technically, he should be that is a bad ruling by Jake. But it's 74-1. Why are we picking Shane Lowry this week?
I thought it was a good number on him. He's playing good golf. I know he missed the cut last week. Didn't make anything on the greens, but the putter was in a good spot. I think missing the cut, honestly, could have been a good thing. Doesn't have to go through the 36 of last Sunday, get really tired. Shane, he probably can't experience that quick of a turnaround. And so he's played well at this golf course before. Top 10 finish to his credit, and fits the MO I want. Accurate drivers, good iron players. Could be disappointing on the greens. We'll find out. But he's gained strokes on these greens, I believe, in his last 3. And then Davis Thompson, again, at 70-1. I just like his ceiling, playing really good golf, and 70 to 1, I think, is just a hair too high for him.
I think the Davis Thompson pick's a great one. I think that's great value on a guy who knows how to win now. He got that off his back. And against this field, I mean, we saw Lucas Glover win here last year, and he did the same thing. He kind of got that winning, hadn't won in a while. He won at the Wyndham, and then he carried it over the next week and beat the best field in golf. Sia, I really like this one as well. You're going with a long shot in the FRL category, Mr. Pendrith. Why are we interested in him this week?
I'm sorry, I'm too distracted by the chat. A couple things. One is actually golf related. I think Liddy posed the question. By the way, Moshi, Apple Jacks is his favorite cereal. I think that's
a good choice.
It's pretty random as a favorite. I feel like you're just trying to get, it's like clickbait, right? That's what I'm assuming that is. But Liddy asked, if you could only have one food the rest of your life, what would it be? I don't have an immediate answer to that. So I think that's an interesting question. Okay, but the golf question, before I get into my long shot, Russell Henley. C-May was asking any Russell Henley love. I actually do like Russell Henley. I don't think I'm betting him outright, or I don't know that I have him in any matchups personally. I will say this, because Tony Finau was mentioned too. In DFS, the 8,800 to 9,500 range looks to be somewhat, and this is all relative, right? In a 70% field, looks to be somewhat of a dead zone. And Henley is in that because people would rather play, for example, Tom Kim over Russell Henley, Corey Connors, Hideki Matsuyama. So Russell Henley from a DFS standpoint, I think will end up being relatively contrarian. That range, 8,800 to 9,500. If you're trying to get a lineup that's got some guys that not a lot of other people have that are elite golfers, that's the range you probably want to spend your time in. Taylor Pendrith, I just think he's such a good ball striker. I think his recent form is very good. I don't think he can win this tournament, like straight up. He's a classic first-round leader play. And for the record, you mentioned my first-round leader run. I hit back-to-back 60 to 1s. One was Pearson Coody. This is the two alt events. One was Pearson Coody, and somehow I'm forgetting the other one right now. But they were both 60 to 1. And then I think I hit an outright that was also 60 to 1. So I made the joke, I guess I got to take 60 to 1 guys from here on out. Well, here I'm doing it in the playoffs. Taylor Pendrith, first round leader, 60 to 1.
Love it. Listen, nobody hits more 60 to 1s than you do. By the way, Patrick hit a 65 to 1 earlier this year with Jake Knapp in Mexico. I think that's the longest shot we've hit on the show this year. And that has held up since February, I believe. So nicely done. I can assure you that there will be no 65 to 1s on my card over the next 2 weeks. So I think you're pretty safe with that, at least on my end. We'll see if you can surpass that. See ya. All right, my parlays, feeling cocky and confident. Ludwig Oberg and Aaron Rye. This is a custom-made parlay with ties. You can get this one on DK, plus 875. Top 20 parlay. This is another custom one, plus 887. Corey Connors, who we talked about. Sahith Theegala is actually in pretty darn good form and has back-to-back, I think, 13th place finish this year. Sam Burns, who has actually been playing some pretty good golf here, finished T2 here in 2021. So feel pretty good about these two. And we're going to give this a shot. I mean, I'm feeling confident that we're going to cash. I mean, the last few shows we've done pretty well, made up for some losses earlier in the season. So we're getting close here. So let's hit these. But we're not done yet. It's time for live picks. Wait, nobody wants to make live picks this week? Nobody, you don't, Patrick, you got nothing? See, you got nothing for me?
No, I got nothing for you.
I mean, I'm just going with Joaquin Niemann here, who won at the Greenbrier in 2019 when it was on the PGA Tour. And he has 9 top 10s in 11 live events with 2 wins this year. By the way, leads the circuit in birdies with 162. Don't love the number at 7 to 1, but we'll take that. And then top 10 parlay, also on DK, Niemann, Tyrrell Hatton, who's finished 1, 2, and 3 in his last 3 live tournaments. Matthew Wolff, who was the first round leader here last year, finished 6th and you can get that parlay at plus 811. You get plus 811. You guys got nothing for me here, Patrick? Nothing? No live Greenbrier in America, not far from you. East Coast is best coast as you tell me. We're not playing live. I mean, what do we got here?
Yeah, just wasn't feeling it this week.
Sia, any help? I got not. Bryson DeChambeau shot 58 here last year. You got to go with that. Plus 650 of the chalk.
I mean, if there's a first round leader market, I'll put something together. But yeah, I've only made a couple of live picks this entire year. I don't want to pretend to put something out there, but I do want to ask the question.
Yeah.
That David Bileski has posed. Who would you rather have dinner with? Connors, Theegala, or Burns? I feel like there's a right answer here.
Connors, Theegala. I don't know. I mean, Sam Burns probably wouldn't like his food taste. because he's from the South. I eat plain food. He probably is too adventurous of an eater. Corey Connors from Canada. I don't know what kind of food he eats. I mean, probably Burns would probably scare me because we probably wouldn't have any shareable appetizers. So I'd probably say Sia or Corey Connors. Is that the wrong answer here?
Well, I mean, I don't know why you went to food. You can order it's not like family style. Order your own food. Conversationally, who would you? I think the answer is Sam Burns, but Sahith's a close second.
I'm kind of bitter at Sam Burns, and I'll tell you why. Remember that tournament Patrick, which one was it where he beat Scotty Scheffler? I had Scheffler. This is in 2023, and Burns hit like a bomb putt in an extra hole to beat him.
Colonial.
Or was that Colonial? Yeah, I'm bitter about that. I think Sam Burns hasn't won since then. And of course, I had Scotty Scheffler that day where he was above 10-1, I believe.
I had an 80-1 ticket, live ticket on Sam Burns after day one. He was 8 strokes back and he won the tournament. And all of my Twitter followers and myself cashed that ticket. So thank you for bringing that up. I'll buy you dinner on account of that.
Yeah, you owe me dinner for that one. That one still stinks. All right. Final thoughts on, we're not going to talk anymore. Liv, final thoughts on the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Patrick, Rory McIlroy, we really haven't talked about him. Your thoughts on the U.S. Open choker this week?
I am using him in a one-and-done pool with only 2 tournaments left.
Wow, you still have him. Interesting.
Yes, I do. Horrible year for me. I need to run the table to cash 5 figures, which isn't always a good situation to be in. But I think he's going to play good. A lot of top 5 finishes. I think 4 in his last 6 tournaments. I think kind of went under reported almost, I guess, or John Rahm overshadowed him, how close he was to winning a medal at the Olympics. He dumped a wedge shot into the water on 15. If not for that, he could have easily gotten silver, maybe even potentially gold. So good form, good course fit, stroke out of the playoff last year. I expect him to hover around that top 5 mark and contend for the trophy.
Sia, Colin Morikawa or Scotty Scheffler? Honestly, this week, one of the two, Colin Morikawa or Scotty Scheffler. Which one do you like better, and which one are you most likely to put your money on outright? Well, I mean, I guess it's probably a no-brainer question, but we'll hear your answer anyways.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. I don't think I like Colin as much as everybody else in the outright department, but your question's an interesting one because now these books like BetMGM are offering the odds. Well, BetMGM's been doing it almost all year, actually, the odds without Scotty Scheffler. So my answer is I think Scotty's going to do better. But if you're looking at the odds of Scotty, which is like between plus 330 and plus 400, and if you're looking at the odds of Colin without Scotty Scheffler, which I think is like plus 1100, plus 1200 or something in that range, I much prefer the Colin Morikawa one. And frankly, that's how I would bet Colin Morikawa. He was a consideration on my outright card in the without Scotty Scheffler department.
All right, fair enough. Patrick, your thoughts on Morikawa or Scotty? Well, we know how you feel about Scotty. Morikawa, are you playing him or you're not playing him?
I'm not playing him. I think he's obviously playing good golf and he has a good history here, but I'm just not really interested.
Final word from you, Pat. I'll give you the final word on this one, Patrick. I love the one and done format. And for those people who don't play one and dones, why next year should they sign up? What's the biggest selling point to being in a one and done, in your opinion?
I just think it's a ton of fun, right? Trying to navigate the PGA Tour season. You always have a plan going into it. It immediately gets blown up. You're never really out of it. I've had trouble adjusting to the signature events and how much those honestly mean compared to the other PGA Tour tournaments and all that stuff. But it's just a year-long thing where it's almost like a survivor pool where you can only use a golfer once. You get points based on how much money they make that week. And it goes throughout the entire season. So it keeps you engaged throughout also and following it from week to week. I always buy I buy my dad a one and done entry. I buy some friends a one and done entry just so we can talk about it week to week and keep in touch.
Fair enough. Sia, are you in any one and done leagues actually?
No, I wasn't a one and done with Patrick in the First Cut crew. Side note, if you're ever in the First Cut one and done, don't ever submit a pick like 3 seconds late because they will not accept it. Even if you have other show responsibilities all day with SportsLine and HQ, if you submit a pick 3 seconds late, they will be super angry and they will dismiss your pick. Just in case that happens to anybody.
I mean, I'm not invited to such a distinct pool, but I am in the Rick Run Good pool, 90th out of 900. with Ludwig this week and Xander next week. Save 2 of the best for last. Let's make a little money here. Yeah, I guess you already know who I'm going to pick at Castle Pines next week in Colorado. But nonetheless, great show, guys. Always enjoy being a part of it. I think the 30th episode of Early Wedge this season, and it has not disappointed. Thanks to all of you in the chat. Thanks to producer Jake behind the scenes. For Patrick McDonald and Sia Nejad, I am Eric Cohen. As I always like to say, let's hit it big. Good luck.